Hey, I'm Mechanical Engineer, and this is my marble track. In today's video, we'll be building a marble track for all the spare marbles I have lying around my house. And although this is primarily a toy, it's also a pretty awesome declaratory piece. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. Now the first thing we're going to have to decide is how large we want the base of our marble track to be. I don't want mine to be very large because I want to be able to set it on a coffee table or a shelf or something to serve as decoration or to entertain guests. So 10 inches by 6 inches should be perfect for me. So now that we've decided upon the size, I'm going to take a 3/4 by 1.5 inch oak board and cut out 4 pieces to make up a frame with the same dimensions. Next, I'm going to drill a 1/2 inch hole at the center of each corner. Attach the frame together using dowel pins. And then glue and nail a 1/8 inch thick board to the bottom of it. Just like this. Not only is this the foundation for the whole structure, but the center section will serve as a corral to gather the marbles. Next, I'm going to cut down 4 1/2 inch dowels at 12, 11, 9, and 7 inches long. Just like these. We can now place them into the corner holes going clockwise, largest to smallest. These are going to serve as the support for the actual marble track itself. And the reason why each post is shorter than the one before is of course so we can angle the track to give the marble some momentum when going down. As I'm sure you noticed, my poles are moving around a little bit, so I'm going to take some time to make sure they're perfectly straight and then glue and nail them in place. With that now done, we can begin to work on the track itself. For the track, what I'm going to do is take 2 1/8 inch thick boards I cut to 5/8 wide and nail them to the side of a 1/4 inch thick board that is also 5/8 wide. Just like this, creating a channel on the inside for the marble to run through. We're also going to want to make sure we leave a 5/8 square hole at one end just large enough for the marble to drop through. Just like this. Now, fair warning, although this track size fits my marble perfectly, I don't know if there's a universal marble size. So you'll want to measure your marbles before cutting anything. Measure your marbles. I use the same process to build another track for the short side. Only this one has a small cutout on the side, so if the marble is riding down, it can either go straight or off to the side. I also built this. There's 2 holes at the bottom separated by a sharp wedge and then a field of pegs. So when the marble comes down, it'll bounce from peg to peg until it reaches the bottom, and then each hole has about a 50-50 chance of it being used. Another thing that I thought about building but decided not to since I simply just don't have room for it is a teeter-totter system like this. All it is a flat piece of track with a sharp triangle in the middle of it and then a hinge right beneath that. So when the marble drops right down to the center of it, it'll have to pick a side, and the side it picks will have a little bit of extra weight, making that end drop down and the other end raise up. Then when the next marble drops, it'll almost have to go to the other side, making that end drop and the original side go back up. So in theory, using this design, every other marble should go to the right. A marble drops, tips it over, and marble drops, tips it over, so on and so forth. You could also build a paddle wheel using the same principle. A marble drops from the right, it spins right. A marble drops from the left, it spins left. And that is pretty much how to build all the basic parts for your marble track. Now, I'm not going to tell you guys what track to build or where to put it. That is completely up to you and your imagination. Just make sure there's a track piece to catch the marble where the previous track piece drops it. So let's get started on putting it all together. And here we are after everything is done. So for mine, I start out with 2 twin tracks which are blocked at the top with a hinged piece of wood. This is actually so we can race marbles. You just put a marble in each track, and when you're ready to race, lift up on the wood piece. Then as you can see, both starter tracks feed into the same secondary track, which is the one that has a side cutout and an end cutout. If the marble follows the track to the bottom cutout, it'll go all the way around the outside of the structure until it reaches this part that'll shoot it into the basin. But if the marble instead takes the side cutout, it's about 50-50. Then it'll bounce through the field of pegs, end up taking one of the holes at the bottom, which both feed to 2 more twin track pieces, which both feed to the same secondary track piece, which feeds to the piece we previously talked about that shoots the marbles into the basin. It is very interesting to watch these marbles race, because when a marble takes the bottom hole and a second one takes the side hole, I automatically think the inside one will win because it has less ground to cover, but that's not always the case. And since the starter tracks are capable of holding up to 3 marbles each, it can often result in a marble bloodbath. if that's a thing. But enough talk, let's see this thing in action. I know I say this about a lot of my builds, but I really do like this. It genuinely amuses me. I was working on this about an hour back, but after about 10 minutes I realized I was doing absolutely nothing but watching the marbles race. This was super fun to build and arguably even more fun to play with. If you guys build your own version, I would love to see it or at the very least hear about it. It would be awesome to see all the different styles. And there you have it, how to build your own marble track. But hey, thank you so much for you guys watching. I hope you did enjoy this video, and if you did, please feel free to hit the thumbs up and subscribe. And Lord willing, I'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching, and please feel free to subscribe.